Week 3 is over. Here's your must-add waiver wire pickups. There's a lot of injuries. A lot of players stepping up in the starting role. A lot of players coming back after this 3-game suspension. Week 4 is IR. So you got a lot of information in this 10, 15-minute video. So stick along if you want to win your fantasy matchup. If you're 0-3, 1-2, 2-1, or even 3-0. These are guys that, A, you'll be able to stash long-term. B, we'll be able to start right into your lineup, and C, a little mix of both. So I'm going to break it up into those different categories so you know who's like a must-add, who's a sneaky add, etc. So if you guys want to subscribe for more fantasy content, we're on the road to 20K. We're at like 18,100. It would really help a lot. And I reply to every single comment down below. I really appreciate you guys, the love and support on the videos. Let's get right into it. If somehow Trey Benson is on your waiver wire, he's rostered in 54.8% of leagues, so the other 46% or 45.2%, come on down and give you some Trey Benson. I'm a Florida State fan. He went to Florida State after James Conner snapped his leg. It was disgusting. I watched it in real time on Red Zone. It was disgusting. You guys can see on the screen he had 10 rushes for 42 yards. And 3 catches for 9 yards. Now, the other guy I have on here is backup running back. I'll talk about him a little bit later. But Trey Benson is a plug-and-play rest of season. He's the must-add. I know I'm going to have long-term and short-term players, and then there's probably going to be like a must-add, like start right away. Trey Benson's the number 1 guy. If he's on your waiver wire, go pick him up. He should not be on your waiver wire. But the next guy is only rostered in 0.9% of leagues, and that would be Sterling Shepard in the year 2025. Bear with me here. Okay. Last week, 5 targets. Week before that, 4 targets. Then 6 targets. He's had 3 or more receptions in every single game. 30-plus yards in every single game. Now, this is what? 7 fantasy points. 7 fantasy points. This one's a little bit better. This is 12 fantasy points. Listen, Mike Evans is pretty much going to go on the IR. Okay, I'm recording this on Monday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. He's pretty much going to go on the IR. His hamstring injury, I heard it's between like a 3 to 4 week injury, but he's 31 years of age. He's been doing this for forever. There's no way they're going to risk Mike Evans when they're 3-0. Chris Godwin comes back next week, pretty much. I still think Sterling Shepard fits into a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3-esque role with Mike Evans going down and Chris Godwin coming back. Because A, Chris Godwin, beast, I love him, but coming back from a dislocated ankle, how good is he going to be right off rip? Sterling Shepard, I feel like he can be a kind of like a short-term play as long as Mike Evans goes on the IR. Next up, we have Hunter Henry, who right now in fantasy football is tight end 3. Now, Hunter Henry should be rostered in your league. If he's not, he's only rostered in 48% of leagues. So half of you guys he'll be on the waiver wire, half of them he won't be on the waiver wire. Now, I'm going to rip right through this video, by the way. It's going to be 10 to 15 minutes of information that you need. I'll go right into it, guys. So Hunter Henry, tight end 3. Drake May's pretty much security blanket, 6'5", 250. You know what you're going to get at Hunter Henry. He's been doing it for, 5, 6, 7 years? Last week, though, or I guess yesterday, he had 11 targets, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, that's going to bring the fantasy points up with the touchdowns. But you take away the touchdowns, he's still at 8 for 90. The week before that, it was a crappy game script for him, I think. Drake May spread the ball to 8 or 9 different receivers. Week before that, again, security blanket. 8 targets, 4 receptions, 66 yards. Now, Austin Hooper is also here, but you guys can see. He's had 13 receptions on 22 targets through 3 weeks and 2 touchdowns. I don't know. If you drafted Mark Andrews, if you drafted Evan Ingram, if you drafted, I don't know. If you're streaming tight end right now, Hunter Henry is an absolute must-add, only rostered in 48% of leagues. Next up, we're going with Ollie Gordon. Wow. Why is it his Oklahoma State? Let me go right to Ollie Gordon. Not Oklahoma State, but he was a dog in Oklahoma. Or at least Oklahoma State. Okay, well, guess what? They don't understand the assignment. We're just going to cut it right to my face. Listen, Ollie Gordon's a giant back. He had 9 rushes for 40 yards against the Buffalo Bills, who have a shitty run defense, I understand. Also scored the first touchdown of the game for the Finns. So I think he's more of a longer-term stash play. If Achane goes down, he plugs right into an RB1. He will be your RB1 for the rest of the season. Not saying he's going to get the passing ability that Achane will get, but he's like a bigger back type role. If you ever thought about, obviously it's not the same, but Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, they were both fantasy relevant. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, both fantasy relevant. I'm not saying Ollie Gordon will be that right away, but he's gaining more control in this offense. I think Ollie Gordon is a great stash and play. Big back. He knows what he's doing on the field. He was a baller in Oklahoma State, as StatMuse just said. Shout out StatMuse, bro. Come on now. Next up, I also don't have another StatMuse for him because he hasn't played a game all season, but he comes back in week 5. That's 2 weeks away, is Tajay Spears. This Tennessee offense needs him. Tony Pollard is the bell cow workhorse back right now, and it's not. He's like top 10, I think, in rushing yards. At least going into last week, he was top 5. So I know he had a decent game, Tony. He had a touchdown last game against the Colts, but Tajay Spears catches the ball. She's a PPR demon. I think Cam Ward is going to feast or feed Tajay Spears. So if he's on your waiver wire, he's only rostered in 28% of leagues. If he's on your waiver wire, stick him on your IR slot, and then week 5, you get to play this man. Go ahead and do it. I mean, look how Jalen Warren's being utilized by Aaron Rodgers. I feel like Cam Ward will also utilize Tajay Spears in the same way that Jalen Warren does. Yeah, I like Tajay Spears. I can't believe when I was looking this up, he's only rostered 28% of the league. That's kind of crazy to me. Okay, next up, we got Tyquan Thornton. I actually really, really like Tyquan Thornton. He used to play for my New England Patriots, but he, over the last 3 weeks, has showed that he is a deep ball, insane guy. I mean, he was drafted, I think, out of Oregon or Baylor, one of the green colleges. I always get him mixed up, but as a speedster, like a 4.4, 40-yard dash, maybe even 4. I don't even think it was 4.3. I don't know. He's just a speedster, okay? And he showed that last night. He dropped the touchdown in the end zone. He then caught like a 40-yard bomb from Patrick Mahomes. But you've seen it: 4 targets, 5 targets, 9 targets, 71 yards, 59 yards, 41 yards, back-to-back games with touchdowns. He is more of a short-term play, I think, with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy coming back shortly. I think he is a short-term play along with this guy, Trey Tucker, who had 3 touchdowns yesterday on 145 yards, 9 targets, 8 receptions. I'm not going to say he's a short-term play or a long-term play. He could be the wide receiver too, I guess, in this offense, but I mean, A, they're not going to play the Washington Commanders every single week. B, they're not going to be losing like this every single week. I mean, they got their ass kicked. Trey Tucker, I mean, just came out and absolutely shined. So I guess if you have a spot open or if you have somebody you're like, oh, this guy should not even be rostered, and you're like, all right, let me throw a flyer at Trey Tucker. That's why he's 7th on my list. Next guy up, again, one of the same kind of players. I think he's a longer-term play. We don't know how this backfield is going to be with Ja'Cory Crosky, Merritt, Jeremy McNichols, and Chris Rodriguez. What I do know is Chris Rodriguez did get the most amount of carries from this Washington backfield. I think 11 carries. But Jeremy McNichols did have like a 60-yard rushing touchdown with 4 attempts for 80 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, like he had what? Yeah, a 60-yard touchdown. 60-yard was his longest. Now, people are going to look at that and be like, oh, this might be the guy in the Commanders' backfield. Look, they split it up crazy. Like, I don't know if StatMove shows the splits. Oh, this is just like home and away splits. But Bill Crosky, Merritt, Jeremy McNichols pretty much the same. And then, Bill Crosky, Merritt, and Chris Rodriguez pretty much the same. Bill had a touchdown as well. Then Jeremy McNichols had the 60-yard touchdown. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be. I mean, obviously, they put the whoop down on the Raiders, and they didn't have Jaden Daniels. So there's a reason that he's only rostered in 3% of leagues. Before we get to our last 2 players, guys, let's check out Dabble Fantasy today. You get $25 for completely free when you use code ALLTalkSports. Link down in the description. $25 for free. You don't have to put in your credit card, your anything. You don't have to put in a single cent, bro. It's cheaper than a freaking Big Mac. It's cheaper than air. It's the same price as air. It's free. Free, bro. Free. Use this code on Dabble Fantasy. You pick more or less than your favorite athletes. Pick touchdowns, receiving yards, passing yards, rushing touchdowns, interceptions, etc. on Dabble Fantasy right now. Every single sport they got. Use code ALLTalkSports for a free $25, and it's not going to last forever. So make sure you sign up down below. Next up, I have Emari DeMercado as a super long-term play. Listen, I had to get 10 guys on this list, okay? Had to get 10 guys on this list. He's rostered in 0% of leagues. He only had 2 rush attempts for 0 yards. Listen. If something were to happen to Trey Benson, or Trey Benson isn't the man that everybody in the fantasy community, everybody in the Arizona Cardinals organization who drafted him, if he doesn't step up and be the guy, this man has been the guy in previous years. I don't know if I can find his stats from 2020. Okay, I can. So 2023, he played in 14 games. He had 60 attempts. I mean, that's really not a lot of attempts. But he had, 4.9 yards per carry. Last year, again, James Conner was insane last year, so he only had DeMercado only had 24 attempts, but he had 9.3 yards per carry. Listen, I've seen this guy do it before, and I'm pretty sure so he's like catching a half per game. If you're in a super deep league, like 14, 18 men, I would think about picking up Emari DeMercado just because you don't know where you're going to get when you're starting a running back. When a starting running back goes down, you don't know the split that Benson and DeMercado are going to have. Listen, I hope Benson gets an 80% workload. But if he doesn't, DeMarcado is the next guy up. And lastly, I wanted to throw another tight end in there. I didn't want Hunter Henry to be lonely. So I put Chigakonkwo. He's only rostered in 15% of leagues, and he averages pretty much like 5 to 6 targets per game. And in this Tennessee offense where Calvin Ridley sucks. Okay, I completely missed on Calvin Ridley. So did every single one of your fantasy content creators missed on him. Listen, Chig, kind of like a safe option. The team's not scoring touchdowns, so if you have better options, but again, if you drafted like I don't know, Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, those tight ends, Chig is always going to be there. He's rostered in only 15% of leagues. He had 4 targets, 6 targets. And I focus more on the targets and the receptions and the yards because I want the volume. I want the opportunity for my players to get there and do the job. I want their game strips to be good. He's always going to be down. They're always going to be losing. They're always going to have to be passing the football. I like Chigakonkwo. I think he finally starts to score more touchdowns. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts down below. Subscribe for more NFL fantasy content. I'll catch you on tomorrow. Peace.